With us now is San Diego State University and head coach Rocky Long. We also have with us tight end Gavin Escobar and defensive back Leon McFadden. We'll go ahead and open up with a statement from head coach Rocky Long.
Well, first off, I'm the only coach that is here now that was here for the very first year of the Mountain West Conference, so I've seen it from the beginning until now. And I think there's things have gotten better. I think the addition of the 3 new teams have added to the competitiveness of the league. I think if you look at the way the poll is on the way the teams are ranked, I think that the number of votes between the teams shows you how close all their teams are together in talent. I think it is because every team in this league plays out of conference. I think this is a competitive league that can play with anybody in the country. I don't think because of maybe population we don't get the national exposure that we deserve, but I think the league as a whole this year is so competitive that the games will be close, they'll be fun to watch, they'll be good for fans, and it'll be exciting for the players. I normally bring good players here that are team guys and leaders on our football team, and I've done that this year too. Leon McFadden is our 2-time all-conference corner, started for us as a freshman. This will be his 4th year as the starter. I think he's as good a cornerback as there is in the league, maybe as there is in the country, and will be an NFL star year after this. Gavin Escobar is our tight end that was first-team all-conference and preseason all-conference. Great receiver that everybody has matchup problems with. But more important than that, they're really good players, but they're team guys. And that's the only kind of guys I would bring to a thing like this.
Thank you, Coach. We'll open it up for questions. We'll start right here in the 4th row.
Coach, Chris Dempsey with the Denver Post. You talked about the competitiveness of the league, but are you encouraged, as being the kind of the elder statesman, the original guy, are you encouraged with the direction of the Mountain West as a conference, where it's going?
Well, I think the conference, since it started, has been a great football conference that has struggled for national attention. Every one of our teams that has been into a BCS Bowl has competed very well, and a lot of the times have won the game, even though they went into those games as underdogs. So I think the way the league has expanded this year, I think all 3 of those teams that have come into this league has made it more competitive and expanded our horizons a little bit. So I think it's going in the right direction.
Coach, you look around this league and it has a very different look this year. You've got I think the only returning offensive all-conference guy and the only returning defensive all-conference guy. Going to be a different feel with so many new players, so many new coaches this year?
Well, obviously it's a different feel. We have I got to get this right. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. 5 new coaches and 3 new teams. So obviously it's a different look. I think what you've added is some real variety on offense, and then some expert coaches on defense, maybe even a little variety on defense that hasn't been in this league before. I think it'll be real interesting, because I think talent-wise, what you see when you pick all conference teams and there's not any returners on there, is everybody's fairly young and fairly new. So the competitiveness increases, and then also it's a team that gets the momentum is going to have the best chance to win it all.
Kelly Lyle with the Fort Collins, Colorado. And Rocky, in your time in this league, is this maybe the most wide open you feel like this league's been going into a season? There's not a clear-cut dominant team, or 1 or 2 even, like there have been some years. Do you get that sense, or not?
Well, I mean, I'm an honest guy. I think Boise State's the best team in the league. And I think it's going to be tough for the rest of us to catch up and maybe beat them. But they're not unbeatable. Now, you take all the rest of us, put us all in a hat and flip it up, and the first one that hit the ground's the winner. That's the way I see the rest of us.
Mark Anderson, Las Vegas Free Journal. You mentioned that you think the league's going in the right direction, but you obviously chose rather the Big East for a reason. where do you see the deficiencies in the league as compared to the Big East in your mind?
I don't see any deficiencies in the league. And I think the schools that have decided to do that have done it for a lot of reasons, not just because of football. And I think there's a lot of reasons that even football coaches don't understand, and it's out of my realm of expertise, and really it was no choice of mine. So I don't want to comment on next year. I want to comment on this year. And this year I think our goal in our program is to win the conference championship. And that's what we're going to try to do. And, you know, you just tell us who to play and when to play them and where we're playing, and we'll show up and play.
Brian Murphy with the Idaho Statesman. Boise State has obviously lost a lot of talent. I wondered why you would think that they are, you know, far and away the best team, or at least clearly at this point the best team. What is it about their program, considering they lost, you know, Kellen Moore and Doug Martin and so many guys off the defense?
You mentioned it yourself. You said program. Great programs have good players throughout their program. And when it's their turn to take over, guess what? They follow in tradition. They're used to winning. They know how to win. And there's other cases where Boise State's been so good in the past and so successful that all those guys have played a whole lot of football. Some of them have played the whole second half of games. So even though they are not the name guys, guess what? They can play. And they're used to winning. They know how to win. They're in the same program. They have the same coaches. And we've had a pretty good team the last 2 years too, but I'm not sure our program's to that point yet. But we're on that road, and someday we're going to have a program like that too.
Gavin, can you talk a little bit about the offense? And obviously you guys lost some marquee guys off that offense. What should people expect? What's it going to look like this year?
Yeah, you can't replace the guys like Ryan and Ronnie. I mean, they don't come by very often, but we do have a lot of young guys who have got a lot of experience, like in Walter Casey and Adam Wim at running back, replacing Ronnie. They got a lot of experience, and they really run hard. And at the quarterback position, we have Ryan Katz coming in from Oregon State, who's got a lot of experience, as well as Adam Dingwell, who's been in the system for about 3 years, and he knows offense real well.
Mick McGrain from the Mountain West Conference. Leon, obviously you were joined on the all-conference team by a guy named Colin Lockett, who used to be on your side of the ball. How far has he progressed, and what's it like to go against a guy that used to be on your side of the ball?
Well, Colin Lockett, he's a great athlete. Him going to receiver was a good, move for him, for the simple fact that he's a fast guy. His route running has gotten better, and going at it at him and one-on-ones and everything, he's made me better in technique-wise and really keying in on what I need to do to be a shutdown corner.
Coach, Stephanie Lowe, I'm going to be with the Union Tribune. Curious, what's your quarterback situation right now? I mean, I know there are two guys sort of in the mix. Can you talk about when you might pick a starter or what the situation is with that?
Yeah, as Gavin already mentioned, Ryan Katz is a quarterback that was for 2 years the starter at Oregon State. Had an injury. When he came back, he wasn't the starter anymore, and he was looking for a place to compete for a starting job. He's competing with Adam Dingwell, who was our backup quarterback last year. It'll be Adam's third year in our program. So obviously, in our opinion, Ryan Katz has the experience of being in the arena. He's been in big games in large stadiums. Adam Dingwell knows our system better. The two of them competed in the spring. They'll compete for about a week in the fall camp. At the end of the first week in fall camp, we'll pick a starter because I think it's important to have a starter.
Dave Southern, Idaho Press Tribune. Leon, what does it mean to hear Coach have such high praise for you, and what does that do? I mean, does it set the bar even higher for you to try to even exceed what he's talking about how good you are?
Most definitely sets the bar higher. Coach Long harps on being competitive and being hungry, and that's one thing that I'm going to do is be aggressive with, it's good to be acknowledged by my coach, especially by Coach Long. He's hard on us, and he sets the bar high for us, meet high expectations, so I really appreciate it.
We'll come back over to the front row. In the meantime, we, of course, opened up questions to social media on Facebook and Twitter. And we're going to start with Leon. You were just talking about Coach Long, and Max Sampson from El Cajon, California, wanted to know what it's been like learning defensive schemes and techniques under Rocky Long.
Well, like I said, it's the biggest thing is being competitive, and with the defense that Coach Long runs, you have to be tough and you have to be aggressive. And with the defense that we're running, all 11 heads are at the ball at all times, and when we're all on that same path, we're a successful defense.
Kevin, a quick question about the offseason. You've got a new strength coach and a former San Diego State quarterback in Adam Hall. What's he been like in terms of getting you guys ready to go?
Adam Hall's been great. He was underneath our previous strength coach, Aaron Woolman, and he learned a lot from him. And it's kind of the same mentality that we've had in the past, toughness and just finishing everything you do. And our workouts are really high tempo and getting us in shape for this year.
Mike Brohard from the Reporter Herald. Rocky, knowing your defensive system, having really good corners is important. Is Leon the perfect guy for your defensive system? And how does he rank with some of the guys you've coached in the past?
I think that's a great question. In our defensive scheme, our corners basically have one assignment about 90% of the time, and that's man-to-man. Very seldom do they have help. So it's most important for them to be able to cover a guy without any help and allowing the rest of well, actually there's two of them out there around the rest of the 9 to do what we want to do with the rest of the 9. He's as good as any corner we've had running this defense, and there's a couple of them playing in the NFL right now. And I think what Leon said is important. Leon's an awful good player now, but he's not as good as he can be. And the better he gets, the more money he's going to make.
Coach Long, we do have one question for you, too, from Cecil Rogers from Albuquerque, New Mexico. He says, Coach Long, how was your first year being back as a head coach, and do you change preparations at all heading now into your second year at another institution? From your first time in New Mexico, now you're at San Diego State.
There's a huge difference between being a first-time head coach and the second time around. The first time you think you know what you're doing, you have no idea. The second time around, you know what the job entails and you're not sure you want it. But the first year went well, and it's all about players. If you have good players and they play hard and play well, guess what? You win, and everybody thinks you can coach. If they don't play well and don't play hard, guess what? They don't think you know a darn thing about coaching.
Any other questions for Coach Long or the student athletes?
Coach, one quick one. Did anybody have the lead coming out of spring in that quarterback battle, or do you see it as essentially even going into fall?
It's even going into the fall. We took turns with both of them where they got to work that day with the first offense and the other one worked with the second offense, and we'd switch from day to day. And they had good days and bad days. It's the best of both worlds, if you ask me. We lost a 4-year starter that was an awful good player, and we're really shaky about who his backup was. Now we got 2 guys we believe can play. Now one of them's going to be upset, but it's awful good to have a backup. No, not necessarily. Ryan Lindley was truly a pocket guy. Both Adam and Ryan Katz are better athletes. They might not throw the ball as hard or as long, but they're much better. They use their feet, their legs to get out of trouble. They can run option plays. They can scramble, get big plays in the scrambling game, and they can throw on the run. They're not near as big as Ryan Lindley was. They're better athletes in the pocket, so there's more you can do with them. And both of them are about the same, so it doesn't change the schemes you run on offense.
Coach Tom Scott, KTVB, you talked about the word program, and do you feel that this is a key year for your program because this is the 3rd year of the turnaround, and sustainability is really the key to the deal? Is this where you prove the sustainability of your program?
I think it's important for us to compete at a level that we can get to a bowl game again and win enough games. And I think other people, for me, I think a program is developed in 5 years. After 5 years, you got a good idea of where you're going. I think it's important for us to sustain what we've done to this point for fan support as well as recruiting and continuing the program in the right direction. I think it's important. I think programs like Boise have been built over time, and they have a great blueprint